Welcome to Busted Speakers. This is Kush,
This is Alex.
and today we're here with Lee from Lee Likes Music.
Hey peeps, what's up?
And so today we're gonna be reviewing "This Old Dog" by Mac DeMarco. And Mac DeMarco, I think he got most famous from his album Salad Days a couple of years ago, and an album which I really loved. And so I was excited to hear this. The singles for me were kind of hit or miss for the most part. The couple singles that he did put out, but mostly more towards the hit side. So I was kind of excited. I was hesitantly excited for this album to come out because I liked the old school, almost 80s, 70s influenced music that he was putting out. And I'm actually thoroughly impressed. I'm very happy with this album. There are a few things that I'm not as happy about, but I think overall this was a really solid album by Mac DeMarco, as expected.
Yeah, I'm very happy with this album as well. I have to say, I've listened to a lot of albums in my time, quite a few thousand, and this has to rank as one of the nicest albums I've ever heard. Like, nicest, most relatable, most endearing. Like, Mac DeMarco is a really nice guy. Any interviews with him, I really like him as a guy, and he just creates something so relaxing and enjoyable to listen to. Great melodies and really, really impressive acoustic guitar lines. If a lot of people's dads will probably call this their favourite album of the year just because it's sort of Fleetwood Mac or sort of relatable to type of music a lot of dads might like. So I just think this is a lot of tropes from the 70s singer-songwriter scene and a little soft 80s vibes with some synths. So I really like this one as well.
Yeah, I actually think that compared to his earlier records, like Salad Days and 2, I think this record is a bit more. It sounds honestly a bit darker, and what I mean by that is that the lyrical themes here are very rounded. They're going around the topics of his relationship with his dad. I don't know if you guys know any of that, but I read that his dad was an alcoholic and he abused Mac DeMarco's mother, and he left them pretty early for themselves. And ever since that time, Mac DeMarco has never had a great relationship with his dad. He's having a hard time talking to him, and just on this album he's being haunted by the fact that he has never really settled his relationship with his dad. And that is something you can hear in This Old Dog, the first track, fading away.
Watching him fade away. That one, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a great album. It has some like a lot of the tunes sound positive, but they have a negative undertone to them, I feel, in terms of the lyrics, and they also feel more settled because he doesn't use that much. I mean, there is electronic guitar here, but he's mostly acoustic. So
A lot of the lyrics do center around like him as Mac DeMarco growing up and dealing with the fact that he's not a young kid anymore, and he could be his dad. Like the song, I think it was "My Old Man," is where he's talking about growing up and aging, and people are like, "Oh, you're looking like your old man now," and I think he kind of thinks that like an introspective perspective, where he says, "I don't want to be like my dad, so I don't want to look like him, but this is like genetics. This is who I am. I can't really avoid that fact." And I think that a lot of these songs are around like failed relationships, aging, just very depressing topics, especially for someone like Mac DeMarco who's like going through that midlife crisis right now.
Yeah, I did catch that a little bit.
It's not like a midlife crisis. I guess you could call it more like this is just me being picky here, but like quarter life crisis, because he's not older than 27 or 28 or something.
Yeah, he's around that age. Yeah.
He acts like he's much older than that though.
What? Really?
I think at least from his music perspective, like he acts much more mature than a 27, 28-year-old person. Like he's talking, definitely. He has some like really, really powerful lyrics in here, and just like even the style of music makes him sound much older because it's like very 70s and 80s influenced.
I'd say it's hard to pick a favourite song because the large majority of them were all around the same quality level, but it's basically the ones where the way he plays the acoustic guitar retracts and comes back in a really satisfying way. Like he finds a really satisfying, enjoyable chord structure with his acoustic guitar, And just having that and his voice as the main parts of the song is just enough for me. Like on songs like the title track, One Another, I guess, One More Love Song. Yeah, One More Love Song. I mean, some of the high notes he hits on that are outstanding, and the little piano parts as well. And I keep saying songs have perfect melodies. I'd say the melody in that one's pretty perfect. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that song specifically had like a really lofty piano line, and there's almost like a
Yeah.
jazz influence in the beginning with the intro with like the really funky bass line. Uh, he's talking about like these endless cycles of relationships and like how it's like it becomes like a monotonous thing. Like you fall in love, fall out of love, you need to deal with the heartbreak that comes with breaking up at the end. Then you need to do it all again. It's like it feels like you're wasting time by not settling down, but it's like he's also scared of settling down because he doesn't know if that's the right person or not. So it's some really like tough topics on, but on a kind of sweet and lofty instrumental, which is kind of like a good dichotomy going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it just continued with what he delivered on his previous albums in a certain way. So he stayed very true to what he created earlier. He was very cohesive on this record. I feel a lot of the songs moved easily into each other because they were very similar and very alike in terms of the instrumental arrangement. And yeah, I felt like this album it just floated away. In addition to the topic of him having a troublesome relationship with his dad, it also went within the topics of love, as you mentioned, Kush. And I read a little bit about this, and he said that he had been going through some tough times with his girlfriend. I think it's his girlfriend, at least. Kiera is her name. And I think they were moving like last year from New York to Los Angeles. So he's been going through this, it seems like he has been going through this transitional part in his life. And it's very, it's kind of honoring to be a part of this, journey and to be a part of that. And I think it's really helping him, or I don't know for sure, but maybe it is helping him to share this with people openly, because in that way he can kind of let it go. So yeah, that is my philosophy, my beliefs about what he's putting out here, at least. So
Lee, did you catch any of this reminds you a bit of John Mayer a little bit?
Well, I think that you can trace what he's doing back to a lot of different things. Like
Yeah.
like the synths here and the drum machine is certainly very 80s sounding. And
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, John Mayer, I mean,
It's mainly
both
the
of these
song.
guys can.
Yeah, it's mainly the song "Moonlight on the River" that reminded me of John Mayer. Just the like sort of classy, textured guitar lines that reminded me of him. I don't know if that's a thing exclusive to John Mayer or whatever.
I'm not sure. I really love that song. That is something that I want to say.
Yeah,
And
that's
I think
amazing.
both John Mayer and Mac DeMarco, they both have this folk vibe, folk rock thing going on, or at least like both of these guys are experimenting. Mac DeMarco is a little bit more on the psychedelic edge with these very flangy guitar effects. While I think John Mayer is more. I mean, John Mayer is a really. He's jumping back from one thing to another. He's been doing pop music. He's been doing country, folk. But I think they relate both on that folk vibe.
Yeah,
On that level, I can totally agree on that. And it's certainly something that he, like Beck, for example, as well as another guy you can associate with Mac DeMarco, maybe even Bob Dylan, because they both have this very simple structure of building their songs, simple way of putting their songs together. So, yeah.
and the song "For the First Time." What did you two think of that? I was like heavily lathered in 80s synths, and it's quite a departure, I thought, from the first three, but I really liked it. I thought it was Mac doing quite well with that sort of sound.
Yeah, I thought it was a very very different from the rest of the album. A lot of this album was of acoustic basis, so this one was like a real standout, and I actually really liked it. I think that it is a breakup song, so it's about like being in denial about a lover who's not coming back to him, and he feels like, oh, she's gonna come back, but she probably won't. It had some really shiny and glossy production, which was just gorgeous to listen to. I think most of this album was really well produced and gorgeous to listen to, I think. And this song especially was just like the epitome of that.
And I don't know why I always focused on the slightly weirder or out of the ordinary songs, but Sister, the little interlude, that's just one verse, and it's only like 80 seconds long, but it's so nice. He's talking about his half-sister Holly, and he only sings one verse to her, but there's a lot of power to it, and even the production on this is good, even though...
I think there's a big story behind that, and
Yeah.
that is another song that really drew me in because it was so different, and it almost seemed like there was some very tragic event or something happening in his sister's life, and he is trying to comfort her through the song, or at least that is my first impression of it.
Well, I read somewhere she was only his
something I noticed about-
half-sister, so maybe it's like sister via the dad, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah,
So
I
they're
don't
like
know.
relationships fractured, I don't know.
A lot of these things, and I noticed about this record specifically, was that the songs are a lot shorter. They're like 2 to 3 minutes. Some like this being 1 minute and 10 seconds, whatever it is. But there's a song that's 7 minutes long towards the end, "Moonlight on the River,"
Damn,
and
that's
despite
an
despite it-
amazing song.
it is an amazing song, but
Yeah,
despite
it's
it being
amazing.
7 minutes, it didn't feel that long. It felt so good. It didn't feel like it didn't drag like a lot of songs that are longer do drag.
True. Yeah, but the thing about that song is that I feel like it's divided in two because of this insanely dark and twisty guitar noise part at the end of the song, which really haunted me. I mean, this is like I mentioned earlier, like we all mentioned earlier, it's one of those songs where he mentions his dad and he contemplates about whether he should call him or not. Or not, no, is that a different song? I'm not sure.
This
No,
song
I
is
think-
about how he's talking about obviously about his dad, but he's not sure how he should feel, like whether he should show him love or should he hate him. Like he's kind of had this conflicting point. Is like, should he forgive him or not? Like that's the point he's at.
Yeah, I'm actually looking up the lyrics here. Okay, so I can just mention the lyrics. Okay, so this is the first verse. Haven't got the guts to call him up. Walk around as if you never cared in the first place. But if you never call, you'll end up stuck without another chance to tell him off right to his face. So yeah, he is basically wrenched with all this fear and he wants to call him up, but yeah, it's so freaking hard for him because he doesn't know what to say. He doesn't know the guy.
I wish I could relate a bit more with some of that, but yeah, even so, I still feel for Mac on a lot of this. Like, I think he tries to take it as stride, but it's clear. I think he does wish he had more of a relationship with his dad on the whole.
There's this video, I don't know if you guys have seen it, or it's probably just me because I'm freaking trolling all over the all over the weird places on YouTube, but I did some research on Mac DeMarco, and there was this weird video where he was Skyping with his dad, but it wasn't a normal Skype video. Maybe it's somewhere else on YouTube, I don't know, but I found this clip. It was basically a 2 or 3 second clip where Mac DeMarco was like, hey, it was saying hey in this really quirky, weird way, and his dad was on the other side, and you could see him in this, almost looked like a sailor cap with some dark glasses on, and he was like, like freaking Santa Claus or something. Yeah, it's a really weird and fucked up video, but
I think the thing with this album is that he's having this internal conflict because he doesn't want to be like his dad. He doesn't want to leave his family assuming he has a family or whatever. But there's a lot of people, like he says in the first song, that a lot of people are saying, "Oh, you're looking like your old man. Oh, you've really grown up. You look like your dad." And so he's having this conflict, like what? And then at the same point, he's having a conflict whether he should forgive his dad and like move on, or whether he should still hate him for what he did to his mom, and him. So there's a lot of internal conflicts going on, which are just really prevalent throughout this whole album.
I want to talk about the last song, Watching Them Fade Away. I know we touched on it slightly earlier, as it's the main song to do with him and his dad. Before I knew like the lack of a relationship, I thought this was like trying to put a humorous spin on it, because he says like the thought of him not being around, sure it would be sad, but not really different. Like I thought he was trying to add a bit of humor to it, but this is definitely reflective of the lack of relationship with his dad. But just the way this song's played, it's like really fractured in an off-kilter piano chord, and the whole watching him fade away chorus is really starkly different from anything else here. It feels like a real footnote to the album, and I really like it actually.
Yeah, it's I really feel him in one way, because I don't know if you guys have lost anyone in your family, but um, I've lost people that I don't have that big of a relationship with. For example, my great grandmother and great grandfather, they died like a few years ago, 2 3 years ago, and those were people that I didn't really have that great of a relationship to, because we were visiting them like every now and then, maybe once a month at least, like at most, but usually maybe 3 4 times per year. And it's like watching a stranger, or a person that you have kind of a relationship with, when you watch them fade away. It's still sad,
Yeah.
because you know that there's a history behind them. They died almost at the same time. My great grandfather died first, and then my great grandmother, no, great grandmother, sorry. And you know that this is a couple that they had probably an amazing time together. They were together for like 50 years. And it's so sad to see that two people who had such a great story, such a great time together. I can't know for certain, but it's so weird to deal with death at such a bystander
Disconnected a little.
level.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're disconnected, but at the same time you're connected, and
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
in this
yeah.
weird zone. And I think maybe that is what Mac DeMarco also tried to communicate through the song.
Except maybe he felt like he should have had more of a connection because it's his dad. That's a straight
Yeah.
connection. But yeah, this album,
There's a
yeah,
lot
you're
of
rightly.
we're talking a lot about the lyrical context here, but basically that is what weighs the most on the record, obviously. So
Well, it's a whole folk pop, like very happy acoustic guitar for the most part. Like it's played really well by him. I'm impressed constantly by how well he plays his guitar, and I have heard the album Salad Days once when it came out, but I can barely remember much from it other than it was really good. But I was
you
the
must check it
one,
out.
yeah, I should re-listen soon. But the one thing I do really remember from that was being impressed by his guitar. So I'm pretty sure that's a constant quality guitar playing, and that's a constant throughout the album. Just, it doesn't need to be said for every song, kind of like it's like compulsory knowledge almost.
What would you rate this album, Alex?
I haven't expressed myself in an overtly positive light, but I really, really enjoyed this. I'll give it 8.5 out of 10. Really, really strong stuff. It's definitely one of the most likable, returnable albums of the year. Very bright and peppy, and I just love everything about this, just about. So, yeah. Maybe one or two songs that aren't amazing, like on the level, but yeah, it's pretty good. Amazing, really, yeah.
How about you, Lee? What would you rate this album?
Well, I honestly didn't find that many songs to be outstanding. I think On the Level was one of the highlights for me. On the Level and Moonlight on the River, those were just pretty amazing tracks. I like the other ones as well, but I just didn't have the same connection to them. But like overall, I think the craftsmanship that Marco is delivering here, that he's performing, is just amazing. It's very on par with what he used to do, and it still delivers a lot of great quality. There's replay quality in this, like definitely. But yeah, you know what? My rating is gonna be a secret. So you gotta watch my video when it comes out on my channel.
Oh, definitely
Ooh,
check
bum,
out
bum, bum.
check out Lee likes music to see that. Watch this
Yep.
space.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So for me, this is about, I would say, it's a good album. It did get a little samey towards the latter half of it for me. There's certain a couple songs instrumentally were kind of samey, but it was still amazing album. There's a ton of great features about it, and the lyrical content just blew me away. I would give this a 7.5 out of 10. It was a fantastic album, something I am definitely going to be coming back to, and it just gets me excited about what I see, what's next from Mac DeMarco.
Yeah, it's definitely made me a
Same.
solidified fan.
Well, if that's it, then thanks for tuning to Bust Speakers. Let us know what you think about this album in the comments below. Let us know what else we should review, and check us out on social media.